It's DEW Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this DEW Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day. And we got to talking about that Chicago deacon who was charged with murder for his wife. And he took the 5 kids to church right afterwards. Yes, there had been some issues with this 45-year-old Eddie Jenkins, who's been charged with the killing of his estranged wife from back in January of this year. Now, they say he shot her 7 times, took the kids, took them over to his house, told her they were not coming back. They were going to spend the night with her. He went back to the house, got into an argument with her. Neighbors heard it, murdered her, went home, got the kids dressed, and took them to church. Now, oh my goodness, we talked yesterday about the description that the Bible gives of what a deacon should be like, his mindset, the stabilization of a deacon. And he sure did not exemplify these characteristics of what God's servant was supposed to be like. And a very interesting conversation ensued yesterday about this. And, it's so sad because these are the people that we are to look up to, to kind of help us navigate on the journey to eternal life, because what we do now will be the thing that God determines whether we should make it into the kingdom or not. So, we need some kind of guidance, and the guidance is not really there, as you can see. Anytime you can be estranged from your wife, you take the children, lie, go back in the middle of the night and murder her, and pack the kids up and go to church the next day like ain't nothing happened. As a matter of fact, not even the next day, because they say this took place like at 4:30 in the morning. And in a matter of hours, he went and took the kids to church. So, the only thing we can encourage you to do is to make sure that you follow the biblical characteristics that God has laid out for each and every one of us. We put all of our eggs into the basket of man, but the word of God will tell us that man will fail us all times, but God will never fail us. So let's, focus on our relationship with the Lord, because sometimes we're going to end up out there kind of floating by ourselves, and we're going to have to make sure that we are still connected to God. He is not going to excuse your behavior because you're following someone else, because we have our own guidelines. Listen, in the criminal world, if you followed somebody in the bank and they robbed the bank and you were with them and you didn't leave, you stayed right there, they are going to charge you as a co-conspirator. So guess what? You don't want to be charged as a co-conspirator in this thing called Christian living, and it ain't a Christian lifestyle, right? Right. So just a little word of advice. And that's how we spend our Tuesday. Well, today is Wow Wednesday, everybody. And as we chug away, and we are halfway through the month of June, and we're 10 days away from the biggest day of the year. All right, the Breaking the Yoke Community Conference. Oh my goodness, and we can't wait as we get closer and closer to the date. Well, our girlfriend Vivian is waiting in the wings for us to get started on our socially conscious journey this morning. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that It's DEW Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
One of the greatest things I've learned that I'm still learning is that like food really helps with depression.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm an emotional eater, so my weight fluctuates. Mm-hmm. So like I get sad and want to eat a Twix or like pizza and stuff like that. But it would make me more depressed.
It's so funny that Twix is your
I love Twix.
your go-to.
But then I learned that when I ate like higher vibrational foods, I wasn't so down. I wasn't so deep in my depression. So that's one of the things that I'm still trying to apply. And just that like healing is such a up and down experience. Like it's not just like, shoo, and then I'm gonna become a fairy godmother and fly away.
Right.
Like,
I'm healed. I'm fine.
No.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's DEW Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. Well, last week we were missing our girlfriend Viv, but thank the Lord she's here today. Now, Shantice did a nice job last week, so after coming off of that PSA, talking about healing, let's see what we're going to have to heal from today after Vivian finishes giving us the news. All right, let's say good morning to our girlfriend Viv.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thanks, Vivian. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. I hope, girl, ain't gonna have to be no healing after this news.
I can't promise you anything.
I was getting ready to say, because after you'd have been off a week, I don't know what you'd have put in your arsenal for this morning. But as I always like to ask you, what you got for us today?
All right. Today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with Mayor Mamdani catching heat yet again after his explanation for New York City rising rape statistics left many people frustrated. New York City has recently recorded 1,151 reported rapes so far this year, compared to 1,080 at the same point last year, which is an increase of 71 cases or 6.6%, according to the latest NYPD comp. So during an interview, he was asked to respond to the increase of rape numbers, Mayor Mamdani, and the felony assault numbers as well. And his response was a suggestion, for people to look at the increase in context, pointing to New York's 2024 Rape is Rape Act, which expanded the legal definition of rape to include additional forms of non-consensual sexual assaults. He also said some of the reports have been filed today, but were for assaults that happened years ago. So as more survivors are feeling more comfortable coming forward now, they're now making their reports, even though the rapes didn't occur this year, they occurred sometime in the past. And those numbers are still being counted towards this increase. So his comments quickly drew criticism from people who felt the explanation came across as minimizing the increase in reported rapes and not really giving any real answer as to this increase, while some of his supporters argued that he was simply explaining the data behind the numbers. So of course, we like to hear from you guys, so let us know in the comment section. What say you? Do you think that his explanation was justified, or do you think he kind of scathed past what was actually being asked of him? And do you think that this new definition of rape, increasing the numbers, really makes a difference as to the fact that the numbers have increased? Next, we are taking a look at Generation Z, as they are changing more than just the trends. They're changing the alcohol industry. The world's largest publicly traded beer, wine, and liquor companies have lost a combined total of $830 billion in market value over the past 4 years, as younger generations continue to rethink their relationship with alcohol. Gen Z were those individuals born between the years of 1997 and 2012. So Gen Z is approximately 14 to 29 years old at this time. So they're saying more young adults are choosing wellness, fitness, and sober lives over drinking, leading to the decline of alcohol consumption. Industry experts say changing consumer habits, along with the price of these products, have all contributed to the industry's loss in revenue. Whether it's for health, finances, or personal preference, one thing is for sure: Generation Z and younger are redefining what a night out looks like, and the alcohol industry is taking the hit. So we celebrate that. Next, we have fewer Americans are having children, and the numbers are reaching historic lows. According to new federal data, the U.S. fertility rate fell to a record low in 2025, with about 3.6 million babies being born. The fertility rate now stands at a 53.1 birth of every 1,000 women ages 15 to 44, which is the lowest ever recorded in the United States. Another eye-opening statistic is that nearly half of women in their 30s have not had children. Experts say that that's due to several factors, including, yet again, the high cost of housing, childcare, student debt, career goals, waiting longer to marry, and uncertainty about the future. So, along with all the personal issues, the fact that prices are at its all-time high is also a contribution as to why people are not having children as much as they used to. That this trend could have a long-term effect on the economy. Fewer babies today means fewer workers in the future, which could lead to labor shortages and put added pressure on programs like Social Security. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably confused because we think we're working towards our own Social Security, but they're actually saying that although your Social Security benefits are based on your work history, the taxes workers pay today help fund benefits for today's retirees. So if there are fewer workers paying into the system in the future, and more retirees collecting benefits today, it could create financial challenges for the program in the years to come. So who would have thought our decision not to have children would impact the future people who are retiring? Interesting. But now we have our wow story of the week, which is completely different than our norm. But what if I told you New York City did your kids for the free? No, it is not a scam. And yes, dinner is included. They're saying the city is launching its first ever Parents' Night Out, giving 500 children ages 6 to 13 years old 4 hours of supervised games, sports, arts and crafts, fitness activities, and dinner, while parents get 4 hours completely to themselves. Yes, you heard it right. New York City is offering to watch your kids for the free while they give them activities to do and dinner for 4 hours, so you and your significant other or you can go out and enjoy yourselves. They're saying whether you want to enjoy date night, catch up on errands, or simply take a nap without hearing mom. Every 5 minutes, this program is completely free. It takes place August 16th from 4 to 8 p.m. and at 5 recreation centers, 1 in each borough. Registration is first come, first serve through July 20th. So the deadline is quickly approaching if you're into this. Considering childcare is in New York can easily cost between $25 to $40 an hour. That's up to $160 worth of free childcare for one evening. Interesting. Definitely interested in seeing what the ladies have to say about this one, because I have a couple of thoughts. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories that you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM. Come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. And thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and listeners. And thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. I like these items. Very interesting. Okay. I would love to hear what you've got to say about that last item. So hopefully you can throw your little comments in the chat room so we can see what you're thinking. All right. We thank you for your contribution and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. Thank you. All right, we go backward. There we go. On Wednesday, we got to do a little reverse on my shout out to the Due Time family. So if you're in the room, please make sure you give Pastor Steph a hearty shout out. And I will shout you out back. All righty. We got to check in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl, thank you so much for joining us. We have a check-in from our lady Tamika this morning. Well, good morning here, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you in a second. Serge, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Tamika says you are what you eat. Good PSA. All right. So, I think I might want to come back to that when we're over the socially conscious items. So let's say good morning to the ladies who help us hold it down each and every day. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey Shantice. And let's say good morning to our lady Tamika. Oh, goodness gracious. Our girl Anika. Good morning, Anika. I'm so sorry, girl. I'm not slighting you. Let's say good morning to our lady Tamika. All righty. Let's see. Good morning, Lady Tamika.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday to you. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. I am well. And we halfway through the month. Can you believe it already?
It's
We're
a speeding train.
Yes, halfway through July already. And we just got finished saying, it's January 1st, 2026. I don't think we can keep up with this time, girl. Oh my goodness gracious. So, how have you been handling this heat? That's my question.
Well, you're asking the wrong one. This is my season.
I forgot you and Shantice are in your glory right now.
Yeah, sweat can roll down, but I'm good because God gave me that air conditioner within. That sweater roll. I'm good. I am a-okay.
Oh my goodness, girl. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm really, really excited. I want to just talk a couple of minutes. I know you're not going to be able to be with us, but considering all of the different awarenesses that we will be focusing on, we had Brianne Wakefield on talking about the human and sex trafficking. We had Adele on quite a couple of months ago regarding domestic violence. We have talked about the bullying, all of our stories that fall under the bullying category. And what was the other one? Gun violence. With all the stories that we've been going over, how important do you think these particular awarenesses are? And why do you think it's important that we walk for these awarenesses and pray in the community for these awarenesses?
Because they're constant, and it's funny because as constant as all of these issues are, they're rarely ever talked about unless it's in your home. If one of your family members or your neighbor or someone that a coworker's child or those type of things, when it affects you personally, that's when you discuss it. We've had for decades people walking for cancer and for heart disease, but let's do what really affects us in our neighborhoods, because just because it hasn't happened doesn't necessarily mean that it couldn't be you, and so if it affects anybody that a friend of a friend of a friend, it's something that we need to talk about. It's something that we need to pray about. And I love the fact that it's right here. We don't have to go all the way over to another country or another state. It's right here where you can get access to it. Join it. If you haven't gotten your t-shirt, just get out there, do it.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's a lot of conversation in our homes or between just two people, but now kind of shouting that out in the community that you're not alone. And that's really what God gave me this year, so that people would understand that, I'm going to be walking right next to somebody, let's say cancer. We just had one of our members lose his dad to cancer. And when I asked him yesterday, I was like, okay, what are you walking for? I didn't want to just automatically assume that he was going to be walking for cancer, because we got 17 awarenesses. But lo and behold, that's what he went for. And, it's the fact that he can look over as he's walking. And here's the thing, he opted to walk alone. So I said to him, because he's a young guy, I was like, well, grab a friend, get him to walk with you. And he opted to walk alone. And that gives him an opportunity now to kind of focus on his peers at the time. And there's some level of identification. Did you lose your mom to cancer, or your sister, or did someone have cancer and they're now in remission? So like you said, now that kind of affords you an opportunity to reach outside of your home, outside of your immediate family, to really kind of get that testimony of someone else that could possibly give you a lot of strength.
And there's so much networking that goes behind the scenes that people are not aware of, you know. When people do walks like that, you know, sometimes they'll wear something like an earring that might say something, or maybe they're, you know, I've seen people with designs and things on their pants that say, you know, in memory of, you know, blah, 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 you know, and, or they'll, you know, there's all kinds of things, signs, banners, you know, those are things that people do, you know, and when you see the sign, you know, you realize, okay, I'm really not by myself. You know, you talk about all of these people who have passed away, violence, stalking, you know, rape,
Right.
you know, all of those things. And then you see somebody, you know, with a sign in memory of blah, blah, blah. You realize you're not by yourself. You know, I've seen
Right.
situations where, you know, there's a mother who lost her child and she thought she was by herself. And there's a whole family of people who lost their loved one. And so now
Right.
there's a connection so that she's not grieving by herself. She has a connection of bodies, and we can pray together. We can talk together. We can walk together. I can get your phone number when you're having a hard time. You know, you can call me. I can call you. We can lift each other up and continue to pray. It's not just this one day. This is going to be
Right.
lifelong.
Right. Absolutely. Now, you chose a shirt. Which awareness did you focus on?
Social media. It's just
social media health.
it's just too much going on with this social media, and I just look at how people are so easily influenced. You see something on somebody else's page, you click it, and now it's on your page, and you know, and so, and it's a chain, and some of the stuff is just really, really idiotic, you know. And if you like really look behind the scenes, it's like, you posted that, that was okay for you, you know. And then my thing is, there's so much violence out there that we've gotten to the point where we're insensitive to stuff that's going on. It could be something small, but you thought that was funny, you know. And so now you post it, somebody else posted, and it just goes, it gets worse. These TikTok things, these TikTok challenges have got to go. I wish they would just, you know, when we had that era and TikTok was going, I was cheering, because it's just ridiculous of all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, that is so sad that something that could be so useful could just as man does all the time, destroys the best things, you know, our way of communicating and, you know, sharing and, you know, kind of capturing some good things. You know, you have really turned it into this war zone. And that's what I call it, because it's us against us, right? It's us teaching us bad habits. It's us challenging other people to these silly things that are destructive and somehow, like we talk about, sometimes have killed. The last young lady we talked about, you know, she did the Benadryl challenge, taking as many Benadryl capsules as she possibly can, or tablets as she possibly could, because she said she wanted to be social media famous. So yeah, we gotta really wake up to the plight of our people in our community. You know, she may live in Florida, or she may live in Wisconsin, but that's still our family. And, you know, our children are watching this. And to think she went down the road of wanting to be social media famous with all of the deaths that have taken place on social media because of social media, but yet their eye is still on the wrong prize. So, you know, for the next couple of weeks, well, not couple of weeks, but this week and next week, I'm going to be randomly talking about the importance of this prayer and awareness walk. Because if we don't talk about it, guess what? The word of God says, my people die from a lack of knowledge. So, you know, if we don't talk about it and we don't put it in people's faces, then we are going to be gone, you know. So let's make sure we, you know, keep in touch with one another. You know, again, for those who you missed your shirt deadline yesterday, which was, well, day before yesterday, which was an absolute deadline. We could not go any further. Listen, Lady Tamika is not going to be here, but she got her shirt. So, and she was smart. She got a shirt. And, just think about when she walks around with this bright lime green social media awareness shirt, what will that mean? That will draw attention possibly. People may ask, hey, what does that mean? And now you can help, enlighten people about this social media craze that we're in that is definitely unhealthy. So thank you so much for just, jumping on board and getting that shirt. You can still walk and you can still come to the conference. That's going to be in Baisley Pond Park next week, Saturday, Sabbath, July 25th. God spares our life. We're looking forward to a great, great turnout. So don't miss it. Thank you so much, Lady Tamika. And I'm going to be grabbing you every once in a while. So keep that thinking cap on, because God wants us to continually talk about this, because we want to, cause people to live. We don't want to cause people to die. So Vivian gave us some stuff to talk about this morning. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, rape is the name of the game. Now, Mayor Mamdani is under high scrutiny as the rape statistics have come out. The numbers say that there are 1,151 rapes this year, reported rapes, versus 1,080 last year, this same time. And we are definitely holding the light up, because this is a 6.6% increase, where rape and felony assault has increased. Now, they are holding his feet to the fire because he's explaining this as expanded definition of rape. So he's saying that now, with the rape definition being expanded, there would be more reports. And he's also saying that people who have experienced rape incidences, they are now becoming more bold and courageous, and they are now reporting it. So you would get more numbers this year than last year, but the reports are not of or from this year, and they're not buying it. They're not buying it. And Vivian is asking, what's your thought? So we would love to hear what you have to say in our due time world. But our ladies, what do you think? Lady Tamika.
You tried to save yourself. As our new mayor, you try to cover yourself up by saying, "Oh, well, they expand the definition and all of that, and so that's that." No, so you mean to tell me that we're talking about 1,000 now? We're talking about 100 more women getting raped. That's not, even if you change the verbiage. A rose, and not that I'm saying that I'm not belittling it by a rose, but if you called it a tree trunk, if you called it a bush, it would still be the same thing. And so you can't save yourself, sir. And the sad part about it is that, women are not as safe as they used to be. At any moment you can get it, and I've seen situations where it's tragic, because we've seen areas where you figure on the train, nobody's going to bother you on the train. That's the worst place to be. You could just be walking in your own neighborhood and at any moment be a target. And the fact that 100 more women have been raped is a travesty.
All right. Shantice.
we've been seeing a lot of him, pushing for the Knicks parade and, pushing for so many different social things to take place. And now something like this is brought to our attention, and it's like, I can't even ask that question. Goodness gracious. Should you have focused more on situations like this than a Knicks parade, than opening up bodegas, than, because what's the point in having all of these social gatherings if there's not enough people to be social? I don't really see the point in that. But again, being in this position, it means tackling the hard things first and foremost. And yes, of course, we need just the social things to help, with mental stability at times, emotional stability at times, so on and so forth. However, if men and or women, because women are not the only ones who get raped, but of course that's the ones that's highlighted the most. But whatever type of assault that's being done to people, especially in a busy city like New York, you have to make sure you're giving that as much focus as possible, because if not, everything else just seems like you're doing this for popularity. Now here comes the real work. The situations like this is the real work. So let's now see you put that same effort and stuff in the real work, where your name isn't going to shine as much, because now your focus has to be on something that has caused so much trauma to other people.
Okay. So, I didn't vote for him. And for some reason, I think he's a mayor of smoke and mirrors. I don't know if you ladies agree. I can't really. Shanti, take that picture down, please, so I can see your ladies, so I can see your beautiful faces as to whether you agree with me or not. Do you find that this mayor is like smoke and mirrors? Like, what you're looking at, but he's quick to kind of twist it and make you think that you're looking at something else, like gaslighting? Are y'all finding that, or is it just me?
No, he's full of it.
That's what I see with him.
And that's
what'd you say?
I was telling Lady Tamika she's muted.
Oh, that's what I see. Before I go any further, let me grab Vivian's thought. Let's see. It's called Rape is Rape. For a reason, sir. And the fact that people are reporting rape doesn't matter if it's old or new. What can you do to help these numbers decrease? And that's what I mean when I say the smoke and mirrors. So instead of you focusing on, okay, it is what it is. We don't want to hear that these are old rapes. We don't want to hear that they've expanded the definition of rape. That's irrelevant. And stop, don't tell me the sky is green when I'm looking and I see the sky is blue. They're asking you, they're telling you these are the statistics. What are you going to do to help lower them? You're coming up with excuses, and nobody's trying to hear excuses. Now, one of the things I will ask is, there has been an expansion, and where was I? And they were talking about the fact that they're looking at rape differently than years ago. And now we're all grown here. Forced oral sex is now considered rape, where yesterday it was not. Anal sex, it wasn't before. It was not before. Forced anal sex is considered rape. So in other words, not just the standard, act is considered rape, but they have also expanded the definition of who is raping you. So before, they had it separated. They had it separated from between people who knew their assailant and those who didn't. Now it doesn't matter. It's all in one pocket. So everybody, whether you were forced or not by someone not forced or not, but forced by someone you knew or you didn't know, they're considering it rape. They are also including date rape. Before they called it date rape, they are no longer calling it date rape. So now this is what he means when he says there's an expansion. So there has been an expansion in several ways, and it is now all incorporated. However, you pointing out that ain't answering the question. What are you going to do about the man that took me out and raped me on the train platform? Didn't we get one of those stories? She was on a date with this guy who she met online, and she agreed to go somewhere with him. Well, somehow or another, he ended up raping her on the platform of the train. It's like, yo, you're just straight out of control. So there's a lot of issues here. And I want to kind of drop this in the room. There's a lot of issues. We also need to educate. That's an answer. Call me crazy, but educate our women as to how to be safe. Some of the things, now you can't stop these women from doing things. Why are we still going to men's houses? Mm-hmm. Why are we still alone with people we don't know? So, but guess what? Education, if you had 100 people in the room, educating those 100 people, you just might get one out of the 100 that will listen. And you can't force anybody, so your work is done. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about educating, guess what? Holding seminars, holding classes, holding these men more accountable for their actions is an answer. So if you rape, you getting time. This is not going to be some passe, blase, cavalier. You won't get 6 months. No, because now they'll think more. You know what I'm saying? So it's how are you going to help us here with changing and turning these numbers around? Kenny says the mayor is fake and phony and he doesn't know anything about running the city. I agree. This snot-nosed individual, I'm going to be honest, I said it during the time of his running. I just didn't trust his youth. I just didn't trust it. And I'm not one of those older people who are against newness coming in, because I told you, I used to hear that all the time. Oh, these little kids, they come up in here. I've been here for 40 years. And well, that's why we're so antiquated now, because you ain't thinking of nothing new. But he was not ready for this. And again, the smoke and mirrors is all I've seen. And this is what he's doing now. Viv says, yes, she went on a date and he dragged her to a restricted area and raped her. Yes, I thank you, Viv. I remember that. I remember that very clearly. And she was willingly out with him. But yet, even traveling on public transportation is not safe enough. It's like,
And she was drunk.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up also. So helping to remind women to not be so vulnerable. Because that was one of the things that came up. Like, why would you intoxicate yourself so deeply when you didn't know this person? So, I mean, it wouldn't have been any better if he were driving her somewhere. Clearly, if he did this on a train, what would he do if he were driving her somewhere? So these are the kind of things. Well, you know what? I'll put it out on the floor. What are some of the other things that you think, ladies, that could educate or he could do to fight these numbers, Lady Tamika?
One of the things, this is going to sound kind of, but every time I turn around, especially when elections are coming, we get like, when I tell you my neighborhood is plastered with these flyers and blah, 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 that I already know for the most part who I'm going to vote for, but I still get these plethoras of you want to send documents, you want to send something that makes a difference, put some documents together that educate, the street at large, we're not just the women, but the men, on how to engage with one another, things to look out for, things, especially as a female, signs and things that you see, when you're dealing with someone, their behavior. Sometimes it's not as, outright on the front. Sometimes there are signs that you should be looking for that he or she is doing to let you know, don't go out with that one, and put that in documentation so that they can read it. You want to do something that really is helping people? That's one that I would say would work.
I like that. The warning signs. They're not, and they're not always as subliminal as you think.
Absolutely.
Like you said, sometimes they kind of hide in the cut, but sometimes that stuff is sitting out there. And promote group dating. I remember when my grandmother used to say that, Lady Tamika. I was like, Grandma, come on, who's gonna be going out here dating? Boy, how essential is that these days? And she was like, well beyond the time. And she would say that, and we were like, oh, here she go again. And now you see how essential something like that is. Shantice, what's something else he could possibly do to help fight these numbers?
So freshmen, when you're a freshman in college, you get to go to the freshman mixers. The purpose of the freshman mixers is so that you can get to know the other freshmen who are on campus, newly on campus as well, whether it's a community or state college. And that's part of their way of helping you break the ice. You get to know who's around in said community, and you pretty much get to they don't really teach you how to vibe out, but the adults need mixers, like how to get along well with other mixers, how to speak to each other mixers, how to initiate conversations mixers, how to respond to invitation mixers. Like if you were to present, even if it was like quarterly events like that within the city, people will go eliminate the alcohol.
Right.
Because if that's the case, you just let people do what they do now. Eliminate the alcohol. Within that, have some victims present. Hey, once upon a time.
I like that.
Once upon a time. Oh yeah, you thought that was cute that he said that? Yeah, I did too, until I almost woke up dead. Or I was left for dead, or I was raped and make this real. A lot of times it's not real to these women, to these men, until they're smacked with it. It's put in their face. So if he was to invest time and money, and it really wouldn't take any money to do that, then I think the community would be a much better place. Because from what I'm seeing, there's a whole lot of, even the way that they ask women out now, it's like, I might as well go on a date with an elementary student. It's just real crazy out here now. So you may be an adult according to age, but we still need grooming. A lot of us still need grooming. A lot of us still need teaching. A lot of us still need guidance. So I believe that would be a really good thing to enforce. Have it like every 3 or 4 months.
I like that. How about we open, instead of the bodegas, how about we open more non-alcoholic clubs, if you will?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where the drinking, because a lot of this comes from alcohol. So, you got your clubs that are opening, but how about opening more non-alcoholic clubs, if you will, and encouraging people who don't drink to come out. And maybe you can kind of infuse all of the things that we talked about, you know, so have those icebreaker games, have those, you know, just have a huge place over here. We went somewhere where it was a little spot where people just came and chilled. They had checkers and Uno cards, and you know, sometimes people just want to go out and promote more, you know, have like a whole array, you know, a juice bar and you know, a smoothie thing. And what's that thing you and Mariah like to go to, Shanti? They got this
refreshers.
Right, refreshers. So what's the bubble tea thing? You know, things that people are really into these days. And make that more appealing. Make that more fun, where people can actually realize that I don't have to be inebriated to have fun. And that will take a lot of that tension, you know, or lapse of judgment time off the floor. And again, will it work? Maybe not at first, but after a while, it will catch on. Like I said, you know, when we went to this, it was just a little spot, and they were just so calm, and or like it was a table of 4, and they just sat there sipping their little coffee and just chatting. So people just don't like to be alone sometimes, and you know, just creating more of these environments would definitely help. You know, so yo, this is the kind of stuff that we can do. Now, the three of us that sat here in 5 minutes, and unintentionally
always
plan to have a board meeting, you can't come up with this stuff. So, you know, and these are the things that I will begin to start pushing for after this conference, because these are the things that God's people need to help with. And, you know, we're going to, you know, start getting together more and creating, you know, atmosphere, because a lot of Christian people end up in these spots.
Yep.
Because they don't have any other place to go. And, or at least they don't feel they do. And now we would help to put together a nice arena of things that would definitely, you know, enable us to, like you said, Shanti, to interact, like you said, Lady Tamika, to interact differently and learn how to appreciate one another and just enjoy people's company without the alcohol, which is a big contributor to a lot of these rapes where people know one another. They're walking off the street. Where was I? Oh, I was on a town hall meeting with the 113 precinct, and they were the ones who told us about the expansion of rape and how the this area, a lot of their crime has dropped, but this area has risen because of those things. So that's where I heard the expansion of the definitions. All righty. Thank you, ladies. Gen Zs. All right. Interesting. Changing their alcohol intake. And if I got this correctly, Viv said $830 billion down. Oh, I got it in front of me. Million. In 4 years, it has reached a low. And they're saying that this is from the Gen Zs. They're born between 1996 and 2012. They're choosing wellness, fitness, and sober living. They are also changing their consumer habits. So I would assume that they mean with alcohol going up. You know, they don't want to spend their money like that, like years ago. And they are redefining what a night out looks like. All right, Shantice, this is an area that you know a little something about.
I keep saying as a whole, Gen Z's got it over the millennials. or overall. They're seeing the quality in saving their money and saving their sanity and saving their good record. Like, I don't want no police record tonight. I don't want to add to it. I don't want to create it. I don't even want to be involved. I think they've been seeing a lot of, the Gen Zs. They see a lot of their grandparents who used to or probably still is drinking, their parents, their older siblings, aunts and uncles. A lot of them, they get turned off from that. And now they're going out, and some of them, they'll defer to like hookah, which ain't no better, or hookah instead of alcohol, sometimes they just good with being out. I think the Gen Zs have their own type of rowdiness where they don't need to infuse the alcohol. I believe with the Gen Zs, the weed is higher. The weed consumption is a lot higher. Millennials, it's the alcohol. Millennials, weed is very dominant as well. But if we had to weigh the scale, millennials is the alcohol, Gen Zs are, is the weed. So they're seeing like, why am I investing all of this money in, this? So I believe that's the main reason. But after Lady Tamika goes, I wanted to say something that someone just sent me the other night. But yeah. But I believe that's the basis of why they're contributing to the numbers going down within the alcohol industry.
All righty. We got to check it from our girl, Adele. Hey, Adele. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. She says, facts. I agree. Lady Tamika, what's your thought on the Gen Z being responsible for an all-time low of the alcohol purchases?
Yeah, they're the most cautious when it comes to their dollars. Stuff that they do that we wouldn't do. We would probably, in a sense, go broke still doing the same thing because that's what we're used to. And when you look at settings that are like that, you find more millennials. You don't find Gen Z. You find, you'll find some baby boomers. You'll find, some that are in between. But the Gen Zers are very wise with their cents, with their dollars. Even with social media, there's been news that's saying that even the way that they spend their money when it comes to social media and streaming is the same thing. And I believe that, and Shantice is right. They're not like liquor buddies. They go to other venues, because now that we have access to it, they're more apt to spend it on that, where they're all standing outside smoking. The bar might be there, but they're standing outside of the bar, laughing and joking and smoking, because that's what they do.
Okay. Viv says, I was going to say that too. They're not drinking because they're into other things. Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind was the weed. They're not, listen, it's cheaper for them to get the weed than it is for them to get the alcohol.
Yep.
And that their buzz is different. Their buzz is just kind of what they call kind of mellow, chill mode. People who drink, they just drink to get drunk. And the effect is different in the immediate. So if you drink and you get drunk, what can you do? Nothing. They're not looking to do that. They're not looking to be inebriated at that degree, to that degree. Again, they're techie people. You can't run no techie stuff and you drunk. That's not gonna work. Mm-hmm. So I believe that's one of the first things that came to my mind when Vivian was giving the report. I'm like, yeah, they weeding out, and they're okay in their opinion. Their focus is different. They're not thinking about the things that millennials did, or Gen X did, or boomers did. They're on a whole different tangent. and in some areas more destructive, but in some areas much wiser than their previous, generations. So, I look at you always hear me talk about my girls. The two older girls are millennials, and the youngest is a Z. And boy, there's always been a difference. Always been a difference. So now when you hear this, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Lady Tamika says they're a little more cautious with their dollars. That's because they don't have a lot, some of them. You know what I'm saying? They're making more money, but again, a lot of them are opting to be self-employed. And opting to be self-employed, you ain't getting the money that you're getting when you work for somebody. So there's a lot of decision making that's shifting, the atmosphere, which will shift a lot. They are doing more thrift store buying. They're not doing as much, purchase like millennials. It was the Donna Karan and the Tommy Hilfiger and the Calvin Kanai and whatever that was. Carl, shut up. When I say Calvin, I was like, Stephanie, that's a little long. Thank you.
It's Calvin Klein or
Calvin Klein or Carl Kanai.
You can tell Pastor Stephanie about those brands.
Okay, thank you for the correction. But you get what I'm saying. They're not doing all that. They're sharing clothes. They're doing stuff like that. They're exchanging. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't putting their money, because see, everybody thinking alike. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, yo, let me borrow your this. Yo, let me use your that. They don't have a problem swapping. That's not something that millennials did. They were more with spending. So I can see why there's a shift in alcohol purchase, consumption versus everybody else before them. So, but I found that very interesting. All righty, talk about the changes. Because right now we're talking about Gen Zs, right? Because we ain't talking about no millennials. Millennials are now in their 40s. So fewer Americans are having children. Same group of people we're talking about pretty much. Now, although there are some women who are opting to have children later in life, it ain't definitely that high. They say the fertility rate has fallen into the lows. They say 15 to 44, lowest ever in the United States. Half the women in their 30s have not had children. Uncertainty about the future, as well as rising economic issues, long-term effect on fewer children. Having fewer children now is going to definitely affect us later in several areas, such as social security. All right, Lady Tamika, this one is in your lap first.
Ooh, so you thought you were okay with not having children, but and for whatever reason, you chose not to, and now you find out that it could affect us all later on. Who to thunk it? Yeah. That's a really scary thing, and now we're looking at, but when you start looking at all of the things that are going on right now, you look at this world and how these babies can't even get to year 1, or they're getting to year 10, and there's travesty all around these children. We talked about the mother that couldn't get herself together, so the child was given to, and the father was in jail, and the child was given to a stepmother and now no longer living. All of these things with children, it's do you or do you not? It's sad, because my thing is, maybe not, because, you know, when you look at all of the stuff that's going on, and now it still can affect us all as a people. Because, you know, you're right. When you're talking about Social Security, I'm buying into my Social Security so that when I do become that age, then I get the money. So those that are, you know, seniors now are getting the money that I'm working at now, you know. And so we kind of, it has been talked about for at least a decade now that by the time we become that age, we may not have anything to give. You know, we may not have anything to get because of all of that. And that's a really, really scary thing. You know, where do you go? You know, what do you do? Do you have a child just because? No, because that's even worse.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shantice, I'm going to finish this, and then you said you wanted to go back to something that someone reached out to you about. But in keeping with this story, what's your thought?
Yeah, that tail end of that information that the people gave was just like, shut up. We don't need, because see, people will hear that and then be like, oh, I have to have baby because I need to secure my future. And meanwhile, you can't even wash your own behind and do your laundry at the same time without breaking down. How you now incorporating a child? No. Listen, I'm happy I know a man named Jesus, where I'm 40, and I've had, for the record, I've never had anyone in a good, stable, God-ordained marriage ever say to me, Shantice, you ain't got no kids yet? You should have at least one. Never. It's always the people that are cussing out about the baby mother and the baby father, and I hate you, and half the time I don't want these kids, and they cussing the kids out, and the kids can't have mommy and daddy at the same graduation together because this one, no, this is what I have to look forward to. No, thank you. Okay, so when I tap into my Jesus, when people ask, oh, you're not gonna have a child, that's out of my jurisdiction. The Lord will decide. Because there's way too much. Not only is there way too much going on around me, there's way too much going on with me, that by the time I get finished with what I have to do in regards to God, what I want to do that God needs to check, all this and this, that, and the third. But it's time now, I'll be having a baby with no teeth like Sarah and Abraham in the animated cartoons that we watch. So we really have to make sure that we're not tapping into the statistics, and we're not tapping into fear, because they're claiming there's no stability if you don't. This is no different than when mama says, oh, give me some grandbabies. And now they ain't living no more to help you take care of these grandbabies, because mama was old when she said it. You don't have the young grandmother saying that to you. You know, when I'm 15 and I had you at 15, and now you 15 and I'm 30, I ain't looking over at you talking about when you gonna give me some grandbabies. No.
Right.
It's when right. It's when I had you at 40, 50, and I'm looking at you like, when you gonna give me some grandbabies? Listen, you ain't got much longer here, ma'am. All right, so what's happening with these grandbabies after God closed your eyes if nature should take its natural course? What happens then? Do I have to now ask God to take me first? So you the one who says you wanted these No, it's stop. They need to stop reporting stuff like that, because I feel like they do that knowing that there are a lot of people who will feed into that. And then that will be the why behind now a lot of people having children.
Okay. So this concept of this generation living off of the previous generation or the future generations Social Security is not new. They've been saying that since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And that they were concerned that eventually the funds would run low. Well, make more money. I'm sorry.
Right.
You took from my taxes and you're paying off my mother's Social Security, my father's Social Security, my auntie's Social Security. You took my taxes You didn't ask me to donate anything.
Mm-hmm.
You took my taxes. So you need to have a plan for my money when I get to it, when I finally cross that bridge. Because even now, us living off of the millennials' money is already tight. Because they're not doing what we used to do. They made good money. Let me show you how this rolls over. So now the millennials are supposed to be living off of the Gen Z, who they've been saying forever they don't keep jobs, they don't have jobs, they don't stay on jobs. And yo, you saw this coming. You saw this coming. So you needed a plan. So enact the plan. You know, we're supposed to be living off of so-and-so's money. Where was the first problem? When we as exes lived off of our, when they lived off of our money, the boomers lived off our money, they could make it because we were making money. Then when the millennials came in and they took it, you know, a little higher, people are living longer. So they get money longer. So now you tapping into 2 generations ahead of you. This ain't no 1 generation ahead. So you in this bucket of concern a lot earlier than you think. So just make the money physically, however you want to do it, and make the numbers work. You know, the fact that Gen Zs are, you know, not having as many children. Again, this is the first generation where family was not a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Family is not a big thing to Gen Zs. They don't care nothing about family. So you are seeing people who are older without children because they don't want to smoke weed and have kids. They don't want to travel. And if they do worry about the hustle and bustle. Listen, they didn't watch their mama. They didn't watch their older siblings go through this. They don't have no desire to do the same thing. So are you surprised that they don't have kids? As a matter of fact, I'm glad they're not having no kids. Thank you, Chief.
Listen.
They're not having children because we are seeing, like Lady Tamika's clearly said, I tell y'all all the time, I'm not going to nobody's gender reveal. Don't tell me about nobody's baby shower. I don't care whether you're married or not, because this is just a chemical combustion happening. We are not reaping some good soil, you know, from good harvest. Why? Because there's a breakdown from a long time ago. So I ain't happy. I'm not happy. All righty. We got some comments. Ketty said, vaping is the new thing. Vaping is more dangerous than cigarettes. Absolutely, because anything artificial is worse. Anything mechanical is worse on our bodies. Adele says, yes, they legalized it. Right? Not at all, because my mama don't be trying to babysit and she's still young. That's right, Adele. That's right. All right. She says the math isn't adding up. Government don't have to ask us for anything because they are bullies. You know what I'm going to say. Sounds like a scam. Ha! Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got a check-in from, the generations coming behind us is cooking. Their priorities different. Yeah, they don't have the same view. They don't have their eye on the same prize. We have a good morning from Regina Parker. God bless you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Dell says, high yield savings account and compounding interest. We have a check-in from Don Mega XL. Good morning. Hey to you too. Oh, that's Mama. Wait, Tamika, she talking about her mama. She said, Mama ain't trying to babysit. That's right, Mama. That's right. I saved it. You had them. Do your thing. Do your thing. But it's just true. We have a whole different breed of young people than we did before. And you know what? They've just done us a favor in more ways than one. I don't know. You know what, ladies? Let's talk about this for a couple of minutes. We got a couple of minutes because the other one I don't think is going to last this long. Well, welcome to the show, Mama Regina. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The extinct rate. Do you think people will become extinct? Who had the first leg? Lady Tamika.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you say that again?
Okay, so we're talking about the dwindling of the production of children. Do you think people will become extinct?
I don't. For those that don't have any, that's one set. But you also realize in the same bowl, we have some that are having multiple, and you looking at their household and you going 1, 2, 3, 4, and it keeps going, and so on and so on and so. No, we are not going to be extinct because there are some people that keep it really busy on a regular. Like you pregnant again? No, you'll say you pregnant? No, I already had that baby. It's another baby now. You know, so and it I think that, you know, we need to look out for one another. We have lost a lot since the pandemic in relating to other individuals. A lot of us have isolated, you know, and I think it's important, you know, sometimes because of the disconnection, when you finally get something as simple as a hug, you're thrown off, or something as simple as you might be struggling with something. Let's just say something that's, you know, we're New Yorkers. Some of us, you know, carry shopping carts, you know, when you get stuck, let's just say on a subway or something like that. And because we're so used to our everyday affair and handling it by ourselves, when somebody offers, it's like, oh, wow. You know, I think we need to get back to that connection, which makes us that way. But I don't extinct. Some of us are way too busy for us to be extinct.
Shantice, you know, you're in your 40s, you know, well, yeah, I can say that now. And no children. You have Lady Tamika, who has crossed over the 50 mark, and there are no children. You know, do you think that with the Gen Zs slowing down the pace of production of children, will we become extinct? And when I say extinct, I don't mean go away completely, because that's just beyond. But will it be like that low in your opinion?
Broad is the road that many will travel that lead to destruction. So no. Because when Jesus spoke that verse, he's saying that there are going to be tons on top of tons on top of tons of people that are choosing the road that is opposite of him. So if we were to become extinct or almost non-existent, then he would be lying when he spoke that verse. So no. And I thought the same thing Lady Tamika thought. Not when this set over here having about 7 kids. And that's one of the reasons why we ain't got none. Because by the time God probably looked over and said, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, you need help? I can't be as helpful with yours if I have my own. You know, so no, we're not going to be anywhere. They ain't losing out on nothing. Again, they push these narratives for their agenda because they know we're just like, oh my gosh, what? I'm not gonna have this, and there's not gonna be as many people. Let me go. Meanwhile, we just heard rape was going up. We really want to bring kids into this.
And not only that, those that have that many children, they need Shantice and me just for their own sanity. Yes. They need us.
Okay. All righty. Adele says you're going to see Mama Regina at the walk next week. Yay! All right.
Amen.
All right. I love that. I love that. She says, we are the messengers. How will we continue to spread his word and bear good fruit if we are extinct? So I do, like I said, when I mean extinct, I don't mean zero, but I do believe that the numbers will drop. And I'm going to say something. I do believe it. I do believe that the numbers will slow down greatly because, despite the fact that I do agree with, the people who will say, oh, I don't have a legacy and I need, just give me a child so the legacy can go on and all of this kind of stuff. Let me tell you something. We're finding more people are getting locked up. A lot more arrests going on. And they ain't making no babies in jail. We're finding that there's a lot more mental illness going on. And, as the tables turn and they become more strict with the signing people in and keeping them in the mental institutions, ain't no babies coming up out of there. So we're seeing a curve. We're seeing a shift. And there are, again, people who are going to say, I didn't like the way I was raised and my mom had too many kids and I'm not putting my kids through that. And, so I do believe that you all who don't have children will become essential agents. I do believe that. And we are going, I have Auntie Pam, and Auntie Pam she has no children, but there's a whole lot of nieces and nephews, her other children, her brothers and sisters. She comes from 6. There's 6 of them. So she's the auntie, and we do need those aunties that don't have children to be, again, the blessing agent. And she's been essential. Always somebody you could talk to, and she didn't mind coming out, and she loved going to the amusement park with us when we were kids, and she always wanted to mix. We always wanted to be a part of cousins night. So because she did not want to feel like like we were forgetting about her. If you're with a cousin, like, well, Pam, you got your own cousins, go ahead and do that. But no slighting, but again, how essential are the aunties with no children? So that God balances the scale. So I do believe that the numbers will continue to decrease. I do not believe we're going to be in an upswing. And I do agree with you, ladies, when you see like, oh, you got 5 kids? Wow. Today, 2026.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, like, oh, I want to be like you when I grow up. I got 6 church children who drive me crazy. I ain't trying to be having no babies. So I do believe that we're going to see a shift. I do believe. And we're talking about all of this these other increases. It kind of works in a wave. It really will work in a wave. So all I say is get ready, aunties, because I'm too decrepit to have a bunch of grandchildren because I can't run around with them. Child. All right, which brings us to, oh wait, I got some comments. I don't want to miss my comments. I just saw. All right. Okay. Adele says, word up. We need the aunties. Absolutely. Shantice and Tamika, can y'all come? Can y'all come babysit then? Wow. No, they're going to be hanging out with Mama Regina. They're going to be hanging. Yeah, Tamika says that now.
I don't know. After y'all saw my disclaimer, I don't know if y'all want me to babysit.
Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Well, that takes us to our last item. New York City kids. I did see this, and it's all over. It is plastered all over the internet. Mom Donnie has come up with a parent night out. So you will get 4 hours of time off. They are taking your children from 6 to 13 years old, and they are giving them some time away from you. And you will have a chance to go run errands if you're a couple, to have a date night out. They say that the average rate is $25 to $40 per hour for childcare. So some of these women and men with multiple children will definitely benefit from this here. So, what is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? How do you see this kind of turning out, Lady Tamika?
It sounds really good on paper, but I'm just. It sounds extremely good on paper. I'm just. So, some of the mentality of some of these people that get a night out, you're not asking no questions. You're not getting any details. You're not trying to find out the information. Oh, I get to take my child and just drop them off. And I'm so fighting for this, not only for the mentality of the parent that says that, but for the staff that has to take care of Boom Boom, because he gonna go all out because mama's not there. And I'm like, again, it sounds really, really good on paper, and it's tomorrow. And I'm hoping that it's not what I see, because I'm looking at the stuff that we did on Monday with the teacher just, swinging the baby and flipping the baby up, and, the baby just, all this damage, because you're not looking at all of the different things. There's information that we need to know. Is your child mentally stable? Are you as a parent mentally stable? What's the environment of the home? What's the mentality of the child? You putting all of these children together in one place for 4 hours. I look at educators who that's their job. I look at them in the morning and they look all nice and prim and pretty beautiful and such and such. And I look at them and good evening, how are you? And they look like this. So I'm just praying for all that's about to go down tomorrow. I'm praying.
All righty. Lady Tamika says she's praying, Shantice. What say you?
I just, as Lady Tamika was speaking, I was envisioning the scene in Don't Be a Menace. I was envisioning the scene in Don't Be a Menace where Sean had to take the road test. And the instructor was like, make a right there. Make a left right there. Pull over right there. Wait here. And he ran inside and robbed the store and then came out. Like, there'll be a whole lot of socially conscious news where little Earl Manigault was left at the night out daycare 4 hours too late.
Oh, yes, that's where my...
And after authorities investigated, they found out that 28-year-old mother and 32-year-old father was out robbing a 7-Eleven while the child was there. So this goes back to the first story Vivian gave today in regards to Mom Donnie. What are you presenting these people with as far as how to interact with themselves, with each other? First of all, 4 hours. By the time I drop my kid off and get to where I'm going, I only got an hour left. Okay. And then Now, if I'm going to a restaurant, that's not really any time. So really this time is for if I have to run a quick errand. I better already have my grocery list ready because I ain't got no time to be browsing in the store and all of that. So I mean, it's a good idea. I don't think it was really flushed out. Like, we're gonna watch your kids while we send a social worker to your home. We're gonna watch, and not a social worker to your home because something has happened, but to be proactive. You know, maybe you as a single parent need someone to talk to. Maybe you two as a couple, whether you're married or not, unfortunately, need someone to talk to. You know, maybe you need help around the house, you know, so we take the children out the house. We send 1 or 2 people there to help you clean, to help you do this. I think that would be a lot more than just saying you have a night out. See, that night out is subjective. I could see night out and just think, I get to drink iced tea in peace. And someone else can read night out, and now this is the night we're gonna commit this crime. So I think there needs to be something else on the opposite end as well. Like, what else are we doing for you? Because you can't, you know, Pastor Steph and I went to a funeral a couple of weeks ago, and I could tell she had a word from the Lord for this person because of the way she was talking. It wasn't just like a regular conversation. And the young lady she was talking to was holding her baby. The baby wasn't, you know, all over the place, but I just met her. But I just took the baby from her so she can focus on the conversation she was having. Something as simple as that. You know, the baby wasn't losing her mind. The baby wasn't all over the place, but still just like, I don't even have to worry about you sitting on my lap right now. I could be locked in here. I can be focused here. A lot of people underestimate that a lot of times. So I think while this is cute, but there needs to be some other things implemented so that you don't think you're doing something good, but now you making room for a whole lot of the other crime that you don't want to take credit for either on the opposite end.
Okay.
You know what also scares me about that? You said, okay, free, you didn't put a cap on it, a number. You ever went to, you know, or you got something that says they're having a sale on such and such, and they say free such and such, and everybody runs out there and gets it, and then they go, oh, well, we what we meant is from, you know, such and such and such. We don't have as many, because what ends up happening is they don't have enough. How do you know? How do you account for all of these children that you're going to have enough staff? I don't think that this thing has been thought out well enough.
I don't think it's been thought out well enough in the amount of time they're ready to execute it. I agree.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I think that because there's a lot more planning that needs to be done.
When is it supposed to start?
Concept. August is for August. And, you know, there's a lot of questions. I'll give you my questions, but I want to read these comments. Adele says, I need more than 4 hours off. However, look at this. They are trying to entice people to want to have kids again. And that's one of the things I said. What, you going to babysit the kids that's already here so they can go back and make new kids? Oh, Lord. All righty. She says, Tamika said it right on the money. Sounds too good to be true. Viv says, first of all, ages 4 through 12. Hi, y'all. I don't know what she's trying to say. Supervising these kids. Second of all, how y'all vetting these people, watching these kids? Adele says, why not all kids? See how they intentionally left out the older kids. Viv says, third, for free. What's in it for y'all? And lastly, these parents dropping off their kids to do what? Child. And she says, yes, I was about to say, are you sure they coming back for these kids? Let me tell you something. This is a nice idea. Let me start off with that. However, I see 50 million flaws, unfortunately. The first thing I thought about was what Shanti said. How many late parents you gonna have? So please pick up your kids by 10. They're gonna be there at 12, midnight, 1. How many parents they're gonna have to send a search party out for? Children gonna be put in foster care because they ain't got nowhere to take these kids. That's the first thing I thought of. How many are going to be late because they out smoking weed and showing up, or drinking? Like Vivian said, go out to do what? Not that we want to, kind of try to dictate everything, but you leave a lot of room here for error. The other thing that came to I read this story. I saw this, and one of the first things that came to my mind is, I'm gonna leave my kids with strangers
at night.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm gonna leave my kids with strangers. Like Lady Tamika said, we saw the picking up and tossing. That she thought nothing was wrong with this thing until the baby had a TBI, traumatic brain injury. So that's another issue. How, as Viv said, how are you vetting these people? You do not have enough time between now and then to vet these people. Not only this, you have put out to New York City that you are watching their kids. What's the cap?
Right. Exactly.
Are you going to be at Jacob Javits Center? I'm trying to figure out how are you going to dictate how many children you're taking in? Are you going to say first 100 children registered gets in? Adele brought up the fact of they want the young and not the older. I don't want the older. I ain't working and I don't want the older. They don't listen, Adele. They don't want babysitters, because that's exactly what's happening here. They don't want to be babysat. They too grown. They too old. They don't need it. They don't want it. Child, that's a whole different ball of wax. If you go above the age of 12, I wouldn't want them either. Y'all find some place for them to go or let them stay at home. I don't know what you're going to do, but no. There are so many, so much room for error here. And like I said, I saw it. I saw it like, wow, this is interesting. This is nice. And then instantaneously, my mind started going. Remember, I raised 3 children in childcare. I know what parents do. How many times I was able to pick up my kid and they still got that same kid sitting on that couch every day because mama always late. And even though they fine us, even though they'll suspend your kid, same child, same couch, same spot. So you got that's not going to stop. And that's from 9 to 5. What's going to happen when they went outside of the parameters of getting back on time? Like Shanti said, by the time they drop the kids off, you're going to have to go to dinner around the corner just to make sure you get back on time. And if you don't, now you're running into problems. What are you going to do with the kids that are late picked up? Are you going to ban them from future babysitting opportunities? Shanti said something that was really good as well. Are you going to have even people right on site, social workers, or people who can help you, counselors, therapists that can help you kind of man these children outside of this night? How are you handling emotionally, mentally? So, part of this could really be just a mental break. I'd rather do laundry than be with the kids right now. I'd rather be in front of a firing squad instead of being with the kids right now. Based on happening in the home. I thought dad was going to step up. He didn't. So now I got this kid and I ain't so happy no more. So there's a lot of, things that can come out of this, but yet it has to be executed real well.
I just thought of something else. So again, you haven't given any parameters for these children. I just thought about, you have one child that has headphones on that cannot deal with people, doesn't really know how, but mom just needed a break. So she dropped the child off, and now you have a problem because somebody took the headphones off the child, and the child is losing their mind, and you have somebody there who's not equipped, doesn't recognize that the child is autistic, and now you have a major problem. Yeah, there's there's so many different other little things that come to mind.
Yes,
you know.
yes,
yes.
What are you going to do with an unruly child? Was another thing I thought about when I read it. I'm like, these kids don't know how to act, just like Shanti said. What am I do with them? Call you? And what you gonna hear? Oh, I'm across town and I'm not gonna be able to get back. And now they wreaking havoc.
And you said 4 hours.
I'm about to say the issue is, what you mean you across town? Wait, we got a whole other issue. Hold up. Scratch why I called you. What you mean you across town? Because even in the 5 boroughs, again, these things are subjective. When people say, I'm going here real quick, there's multiple definitions to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So unless you really understand that you gotta be on people to break things down to you, and it's not because you can't comprehend, it's because people have created their own definitions. So if I say I'll be back real quick because I'm going to the corner store, I can be back real quick because I'm going to the corner store. But you can't tell me you're going to Walmart real quick and you be back. I'm sorry, there's nothing quick about going to Walmart. Okay, there's nothing quick. I had someone say to me one day, I was like, oh, you know what you doing? I'm going to Poconos real quick. What? How are you driving to the Poconos? I'm going to the Poconos real quick. How are you driving to the Poconos real quick? Even if this is a quick round trip for whatever, I don't care which ain't none of my business. But the verbiage, how is that? How is real quick at the end of the sentence? So already I'm calling you because it could be because something happened to your child. You know, your child all of a sudden, you could have dropped your child off sleep and now your child wake up cranky, and you ain't tell us your child is sick. See, all these things gonna happen. You ain't tell us your child was sick. We not realizing something's off until the baby wakes up. And now we gotta call you like, they just sneezed and snot went everywhere. This ain't no regular sneeze. You need to come get your child. And you talking about, oh, I'm across town real quick. What? No, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work.
You know what else I thought about? I thought about the child that's like Lady Tamika. They gotta go down at 9 o'clock. What you doing with them? Because a kid that needs to go down at 9 o'clock and all the lights are on, because guess what? You can't put them nowhere. Can't separate them.
No,
can't
they
put them in
will.
the sleep room.
Mm-hmm.
So now all the children stay here in this open space. How's that child gonna function at 9 o'clock when it's time for them to go to bed? And now they cranky. And they done turned up the place because they tired. And they crying. So now this spoils it for how many others? All I know is I just want to be a fly on the wall.
A child that's not potty
things,
trained.
Right.
We're talking about 4 to 12. You 6 years old and you still wetting yourself. Or worse. You got other children smelling what? And of course, that parent didn't bring nothing extra. So that child got to sit there all day.
I was about to say, because even if you potty trained, you just got out of the pull-ups. I don't want you then either. I don't want the freshly potty trained. You haven't had experience long enough.
Wait, they say 6 to 13. So they're kind of.
So now you got the 13-year-old looking at the other 13-year-old. So now we also got that issue.
Right. You can't tell them they can't exchange phone numbers. You can't tell them they can't be on the internet. This is just way too, and I don't want you all who's watching and listening to feel like, dang, they ain't said nothing good. It's just.
I said it was cute.
Yeah, I said it was a good idea. But so he just got into office this year. This can't be a plan for this year because there are too many wrinkles that have to be ironed out. And all of these things that we're bringing up are dynameters. Okay, all this stuff matters. And wait, boy, the comments are going like crazy. Okay, Adele says all them kids gonna end up in the system with a jail or foster, where the city can get money off these kids. I don't even leave my kids with family members I don't trust. Not my babies, not none. Hi, Shanae. All righty. Wait, how are you? Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay. Miss Regina says, hello, everyone. Looking forward to meeting you all. And we're looking forward to meeting you as well. Yes. Shanae says, is this for kids? Are we talking about the plan for the kids or this program? The program is family friendly, but we ain't got no kids because they're supposed to be in school. But we do speak openly, but not destructively open. Viv says, then something happens and the city is about to get sued. Have y'all thought about that? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Miss Regina says parents need to take accountability. Absolutely. And when you open up this door to these children, you don't know what kind of parent you're going to be dealing with. And some parents are just really unreasonable. They are lame. They don't take accountability, like Miss Regina said. And this could possibly be, a lot of errors. So I think, if he's going to do this, he needs to plan for next August. That way you've vetted these people properly. Like I said, there's another dynamic of children going to sleep. Did Vivian give the hours? Hold on. No, I don't remember. I didn't type it in, so I don't think she did. I may have missed it. But think about, like I said, Lady Tamika says, I go to bed at 9:00. That's it. She's an adult. What happens to that child that normally needs to be in bed at 9:00? And you can't pull out no cots. See, all this stuff here leaves room for problems. What child you want sleeping is, God forbid something happen? No, that's all right. I'll pass. I don't, child. Adele says, Mom, Donnie is doing the best he can. However, he's trying to fix all the city's problems in a very short time. And she says, I commend him for at least trying. See how this pans out. Adele, I'm sorry. I don't know about the ladies. I ain't sold. I'm sorry.
Well, I say,
it may seem a little, I'm not being harsh. Mm-hmm. I'm being realistic. I'll let you ladies speak. Lady Tamika, what you got? Adele says he's doing the best that he can. He's trying to fix all the city's problems in a very short time. I commend him for at least trying. Let's see how this pans out. What's your word?
I give him an E for effort. The idea, and I mentioned it. It sounds real good on paper, but honey, you haven't been here long enough to know the dynamics of what we deal with on a daily basis. If you were to ever listen to this broadcast just one day, when we talk about the people that have one job, and all of the things that go on and all the chaos and the children, and we're talking about adults, and who are you employing to do this? Are they stable, mentally? Are they as staff stable? What type of, background checks are you doing for the people that are working there? Are you looking into their history? Have they worked in a school? Have they had any issues with pornography or child endangerment or grooming? Or, there's a whole lot of stuff that you have to do. You can't just put people, children in a room and then give, a handful of people to say, okay, y'all watch this. We just saw this a couple of days ago. And so it's not that I give him, I commend him for it. I give him an E for effort. He's doing stuff that no one else has ever done. But in the interim of doing stuff that nobody else has ever done, please know that you have to do your research. You have to do your due diligence before you put it into effect. We have seen in the past with other things that they've done, even so much as the thought of bringing people in without, from other countries, without doing your due diligence. If you're going to do it, there's nothing wrong with your idea. I think it's wonderful, but you have to do your due diligence. You have to be proactive and not reactive, because reactive causes all kinds of chaos.
Absolutely. Shantice, Adele says, I commend him for at least trying. Let's see how this pans out.
I don't feel like he's trying to solve problems. It's coming across to me, and it may not even be intentional, but it's coming across as like, because I'm young, because I'm not American in that sense, I have stuff to prove. So I'm seeing things that can be done, but instead of pacing myself, instead of really diving in and seeing how this can truly make a difference and really be effective and not be a band-aid, but really solve a lot of foundational and root issues, I'm gonna just pop up and say I'm doing this. I'm gonna pop up and say I'm doing that. It's almost like watching like a rapper release a lot of singles right now. That's what I feel like I'm looking at. Like, oh, I push for the next parade. Oh, I push for more bodegas because these people can get more money. Oh, I pushed for this because not this. Oh, I pushed for that. But then again, in this same segment, what are you doing about this increase in rape? And you didn't want to take accountability. No, you're not the one out here raping people, thank God. But this is the job that you've taken. You have to throw yourself in the trenches and be the spokesperson for the nasty, despicable things that are going on in this city that put you in this position. So all the flowery stuff can't get your immediate attention before all of these kind of issues get your attention. Because again, if you even made sure your circle was on point, how is it that you coming out with all this stuff and ain't nobody sitting there like, sir, not yet? Because again, I agree, these are not bad ideas, but you're putting the cart before the horse. You're not analyzing enough. You're not researching enough. You're not thinking enough. It's like more about popularity than it is where I'm gonna really solve what's going on. And that will, what that will require? You not being in the limelight as much, because you'd be too tired with meetings, with reading, with researching, with sitting with experts, with doing all of this to be taking pictures with kids playing with blocks. I'm sorry, I don't want to see my mayor playing with little Joey, and I just heard that the rate went up. I don't want to see that. That's just me. That's just me. So I feel like it's more of, what can I do that'll put my name out here so I won't be forgotten when the election comes up, more than, okay, this is the position I have. Let me actually execute the ugly, so that, God willing, we can possibly get to now this time, even if there's 5 minutes, for the flowery thing.
Okay. I do commend him on the thought, or maybe whoever brought it to the table, because it didn't have to necessarily be his thought. But I think it's a great idea. However, there are just too much room for error, and I don't think he wants to take that blow right now. If I were you, I'd be in that seat a little longer before I execute things like this, because in a short amount of time, look at all the stuff that the three of us brought up. You're dealing with it's like it's Russian roulette. You don't know what kind of children you're going to get. Are you going to say, we're not taking children with special needs? Because if you're taking children with special needs, you're going to have to employ people who are trained for specially needs children. So you can't disqualify them. You're going to have to include them, but that means you're going to have to be on your game on that opposite side. There's a lot of dynamics here, a lot of moving parts, as I always like to say, because also, are they going to bring their own food, or are you going to provide a snack? If you provide anything, now you got to worry about dietary restrictions,
allergies.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Things that children can't eat. And, again, you ain't got enough time for this. You don't have enough time. There's a reason why they run for 4 years before they, actually get to the voting day, because all of this stuff kind of takes time. So that's my thing, to see how this pans out. Nah, I'm sorry. How this pans out is a mess because it's being done so quickly. Okay. Ms. Regina says many parents who become mothers are never trained by their mom or grandma. So we have a city of untrained parents. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't know who you getting. Listen, we do enough daycare stories here to know that the gamble on decent parents. We do enough stories here about daycare centers, including the one where Lady Tamika was throwing the baby up in the air. These were people who were vetted. These were people who have known these children. Talk about one night of these kids not knowing. You can't don't pull little Johnny too hard, or he has special needs, so don't raise your voice. And you can't have the flickering phone because this one can't take the flash. No thank you. No,
we have a runner. Don't forget
right.
that.
Right. It's a lot. It's a lot. Pastor Kale is checking in. Good morning. Babies having babies. Yeah, there's a lot of room for error. And as a brand new mayor, I wouldn't want it. I'm just saying. Let me get this a year. Y'all struggle the way you've been struggling, and we're gonna help make it happen. And it might be something that you can, execute it. Of course, even the first time it's being executed under the best plan, things are gonna go wrong. So, are you starting with, we're gonna do this in each borough? Okay. We're going to do this in each borough. We're going to cap it at the first 100 children. Is that the worst thing in the world? No, because they do that with camps. They have remember Fresh Air Fund and things like that? First come, first serve. So that's how we're going to wean out, that we're going to get 1,000 people up in here. Okay. But not only that, you don't start putting the word out first. You put the word out that we want to do this. And for those who are interested in being vetted for the job,
right
now we start there. Why? Because they're going to be able to bring you all the possibilities. Why? Because they in this arena each and every day. Because you're surely not going to hire people who ain't in the arena. You want people that's with these children on a regular basis. You hire them first. They are going to be your first line of defense against bad parents and bad children. Good parents and good children. They're the ones right on point. Okay. So if I'm sitting with 30 people, I'm going to say, okay, listen, I want you all, before you get here, I want you all to write out 10 things that you experience that's not good. 10 things from the parent side. 10 things that you experience from the child side that's not good. How have you handled it? Direct this. See, all of this stuff takes time. Okay, I'm sorry. That's the planner in Pastor Steph. That's the planner in Pastor Steph. That thing says, all right, I want to do something. This is a great idea. But it has to be executed the right way.
Right. Flush it out.
right. It has to be executed the right way. And like I said, you don't know because you don't work in these daycare centers. Be able to sit with these people and hear the hard facts and get the ideas from them that work. And then decide, okay, you know what? Let's do this on a trial basis. We're gonna try this in Brooklyn. We're gonna try this day in the Bronx. We're gonna try this day in Queens. This day Staten Island. This day Manhattan. We're gonna take 6 to 13 in Brooklyn. We're gonna take this age in. You know what I'm saying? Listen, this takes a lot of work, and I don't see or hear the work. And although they may have done this kind of work, however, I don't think so. Because I doubt that you're doing this in this whole grand scheme of things if you did the work. Because work will tell you we better do this in small chunks before we try to jump out there and swim in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So, you know, there's some, you know, this can work, and this can be an ongoing thing, you know, if you choose to do it. But please, I'm sorry. Not for the benefit of the children, for the benefit of the city. Not only that, I'm concerned about the workers, because some people are just set out to be problems. And because of their nasty, dirty habits, they now make problems for good people. And I would hate to see something like that. So again, I'm always a person, you know, some of us are, that I have to say that's a gift that God has given me. Tell me anything you want to do in 5 minutes, I got a plan. 5 minutes, give me 5 minutes on that thought. I got you. And I'll help you work it out. I'll help you flush it out. Because, you know, some of the things people don't pay attention to have to be paid attention to. There are things, and I sit with a team at all times. So all the stuff that I have, I want feedback. Help me. Will this work? Will that not work? You know, Shantice is, you know, she's 40. You have Vivian and Teresa. They in the school every day. That's why I say, go to the ones who know this thing here.
That's it. That's it.
Go to the ones who know. I'm not going to sit back and try to create this whole big, beautiful plan. And I'm not consulting with these people. When we talked about, you know, things for the conference, I asked Vivian and Teresa very direct questions. What can we do here? What shouldn't we do here? What should we watch out for? Plain and simple as that, because they know. And they deal with two different sets of children. Teresa's in the school, DOE. Vivian is still at nursery age. So I'm getting a nice, vast understanding of how they're working in these schools. And they both deal with special needs children. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of things that we need to look at. All righty. You know what? I can't stand Pastor KL. I want to be rich. What's the plan? 5 minutes. I got one word. Jesus. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. One phrase. What did God say?
That'll shut that
5 seconds. That's right, Tamika. That's right. 5 seconds. I ain't got to have 5 minutes. 5 seconds that says, what does God say? I told y'all, when people talk about, they come to me and they say, Pastor Steph, please pray that I get a job. I ain't praying that you get no job necessarily. Because how do I know that you weren't removed from that job for a reason, and all those bad habits, you won't be taking it to someplace else? Are you ready to work? What did you do with the last job? I don't know any of these things. So when I go to the Lord on your behalf for a job, I'm saying all of those things to God. God, you know what this situation is. You know why this person is not working. Please do your perfect work in them, so that when they actually go to the next job, they'll be prepared for whatever it is. If the next job means increase, if the next job means expansion of territory, see, I'm thinking all those things. It's not. So if you want to be rich, I say Ask God what he has for your life. Maybe he don't want you to be rich. 4, 3, 2, 1 is done. Ladies, as always, it's been a pleasure. And thank you so much for just digging deep today. Really digging deep today. And you're a big blessing. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you, too.
Thank you. Woo! A lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff to talk about. You know, all three of these items are everyday living things. Let's go back. So we have, the rape statistics. Not only are the rape, is the word rape being redefined. Again, they're asking him, put yourself on mute. They're asking him, what can we do to help stop it? What's your plan? Again, that's essential. The plan. You could pull out all the statistics you want. How are we going to help to fix this problem? The Gen Zs came up in two of these arenas. One, they're changing the face of alcohol purchase. They are also choosing not to have children. So you're going to have to dive into the dynamics of a group just do a focus group. Ask the Gen Zs a bunch of questions. Ask them, where do they see themselves and how come they don't operate like Gen X and millennials? Why are they choosing not to do these things or choosing to do these things? What are their specific interests? What are their specific goals? What are they really, 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 focusing on? What are they trying to accomplish and achieve? Because let me tell you something, the Gen Zs are going to be the game changers. They have proven that. They are proving that. They are also a group of people who don't like to do a lot of training. They look for immediate results. So in other words, if they have to go if they have a particular focus and you give them training, you ain't gonna be able to give them 9 weeks of training. They want it done in 9 days. Whether that's a reality or not is beside the point, because that determines how long they're gonna stick this thing out. So you're gonna have to really get into the head of a Gen Z and figure out, and find out what it is that they're looking for. We're talking about this wonderful plan. It's a wonderful plan. Don't misunderstand me. I love it. I love this, that they're giving the parents a break, especially because not all the time do you have it, but you need it for multiple reasons. And I love the ladies because they brought up several things. Not only do you need it for just, going out, but you also may need it for just a mental reset, emotional reset. Okay, I have 3 children and they are 5 years apart and 8 years apart. And although they were in their 3 different worlds, when they came together, we had a lot of fun, but boy, during the times of calamity, it was not fun. It was not fun. And what happens to a parent who breaks down after that? Who's got those stair-step kids? Who's trying to get her or his own, pushing and trying to get a better, a degree so they can have more earning potential. But they got these kids at home. They didn't think about education when they were making the babies. But now, in hindsight, I'm like, I got to get this education on. So there's a lot of things that we have to think about. A lot of things. The word of God says, who plans to build a house without counting up the cost? If we stay right there, do you realize how huge that is? That is huge. because that falls into any category. You talk about the Gen Zs who have stopped drinking as much, who plans to build a house without counting up the cost. If I'm always drinking, what does that mean? I have to count up that cost. What's it going to cost me to be drunk all the time? We're talking about the fact that they don't want to have children. They're not having children as often. They've counted up the cost. Children will possibly slow me down. I'm not finished being a kid myself in a sense. I like my freedom. And once I get my freedom, I don't want to necessarily be tied down to kids. The cost of having children is a whole lot of things that maybe that individual is not willing to sacrifice. According to them and God, this works or doesn't work. Counting up the cost. Who plans to build a house without counting up the cost? This last item on our list. When you planning on building this house of babysitting for parents for hours, for these group of children, yeah, you will have to count up the cost for that one, because this could kind of really have a boomerang effect when all you meant was well. That's all I'm saying. What was meant for good, the enemy turned into evil. And what we're finding is a lot of things that's left without God, you are truly seeing the result of it. Because who's manning the table? So come on the Lord's side, so you can learn how to build a house and count up the cost. You're not just out there making decisions. That's what I said. That is so poignant. Who plans to build a house without counting up the cost? What are you doing? How do you plan to do anything without counting up what it may cost you at the end of the day? Again, I had Shantice early. I was 18 when I had her, away in college. Did not count up the cost. I have no regrets for my girl. But could I have made better decisions? Absolutely. What I messed up, God turned for good. So I didn't count up the cost, because later, I looked at a job description. I had been doing the work. They said experience and education. All I needed was an associate's degree. I was halfway there when I left school to have a baby. And they were offering over $100,000. I could have, the details of the job was way below my ability, way below. That degree was what added on to the price. I could not apply. I did anyway, and of course I wasn't selected, because how easy for a person to get an associate's degree. I was without it because I didn't count up the cost. So listen, we're in a time where God is breeding thinkers. That's the tagline He's given me. So come on, let's think this thing through. 10 more days to the Breaking the Yoke Community Conference Prayer and Awareness Walk. 10 days. Wow. We've been planning this for months, and there's still a lot of work to do, but we're getting through. And things are being pushed behind us. But come on, you cannot get a shirt any longer. Shanti says she'll make shirts afterwards. I say I don't want to see a shirt. I don't want to see an awareness shirt for another year. But listen, you can still come out and participate. Please come out and be a part of this amazing day. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit as you go through your day. Be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies from doing an excellent job today. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping to keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares. Where is Therapeutic Thursday? I love